because a principle is not a principle till it costs you something.
Principles are important to you, and you said that principle isn't principle until it costs you something.
It's my favorite saying, and I think it's the most important element of leadership. And when I was teaching leadership courses, mainly in the Philippines, I would teach a semester. I was asked by a number of top universities here because I'm in Manila right now. And I can look out my window and see University of the Philippines, where I was a professor for 7 years. I would teach a leadership class, and I would write on the chalkboard on day one, a principle is not a principle till it costs you something. And I would tell the class, I'm being very transparent. You need to memorize this. And on both the midterm and the final, it will be a fill in the blanks where you have to fill in each word. If you miss this, it's an automatic F. You fail. Because this is the most important thing of all, because if you don't have principles that you're aware of and that you're conscious of, you will never be a successful leader. And I told them, when people say to me, oh, that guy doesn't have any principles, I completely disagree. He has principles. The question is not, does he have them or not? The question is what are his principles? So let's take, an example. Let's take bribery, which is a big one. If I ask 100 people right now, would you take a bribe? All 100 will say no, because a principle is not a principle till it costs you something. At this point, there's no cost. You're saying no on a hypothetical question. So there's no cost. So of course you're the hero. The question is not what you do in the hypothetical. The question is, what do you do when there's really a bribe in front of you? Now we'll find out. Now in my career, in the markets I worked in, I had lots of insinuations and hints of, like $5,000, $10,000 stuff. That was so easy. It was unbelievable. No, not even a debate. But then in Africa, where I was a major buyer, and these orders that were in the tens and hundreds of millions of dollars, I was offered basically a bribe that totaled about $7 million US. I am always tell people, I'm ashamed to admit that I didn't say no until the next day. And I'll tell you why I didn't say no till the next day, because I laid in bed and thought about it all. And I thought, how could I take it and still be honorable? And the answer was, you're trying to thread a needle that can't be thread. And so in the end, I said no, but that no coming out of my mouth hurt like you wouldn't believe. It hurt painfully, because you start to think about what you would do with that. The house in the Alps, and, the boat, and the things you're going to do with that money, and the things you would do with your family, and how it would change your life. But a principle is not a principle till it costs you something. And so, I think that a lot of people that I see aren't clear on what their principles are. And the second is that the principles that they embrace are very malleable based upon the situation. And, that's where you get into these absolute moral ambiguities.
This podcast is brought to you by Arcaro. To learn more about how Arcaro might help your organization adapt to a changing world, please visit our website, www.arcaro.com. More information in the show notes. Thank you.